But to answer your question,
guys.
you said how can you want to be traditional but then want for other women to have the equality of wage and opportunities as
But
men?
let me add to that.
Is that
So
what you're asking?
sort of, but like, so one of the big pushes when it came to feminism, yes, we can talk about like rights bestowed upon you by the government and equal access to various things and the ability to work, although it's not clear to me like to the degree to which women were barred from the workforce and just certain biological realities throughout history and the fact, there's a whole bunch of things there. But even like one of the big pushes that feminism does, it's like, let's do away with gender roles. Gender roles are a bad thing. Men and women are the same. That's a big push from feminism. So that's where I get confused, because it's like, okay, we shouldn't view women in these sorts of ways, and you can say it's all about just from the government down when it comes to rights and stuff, but a big feminist push was we need to view women not even from a legal perspective, but from like a societal perspective as in XYZ ways. But we haven't changed that for men. Like, for example, if you want true equality, there would be, for example, a push for women to, in a dating context, for women to be initiators, for women to make the first move, for women to be willing and prepared to pay for the first date.
There's like a biological reason that's not the case, though.
Well,
you're putting yourselves in harm's way a lot of the time.
Wait, what?
Well, now that I know what you're
you know
asking,
how common like date rape is?
What the
Now that
fuck?
Sorry, I didn't mean to say that word, but
Okay, go ahead
you
with
know
your
how common
point.
that is?
Go ahead with your point.
Now that I know what you're asking, I think it is absolutely possible for people to be in the same universe as those that want traditional roles and those that might want untraditional roles, and it has nothing to do with quote-unquote biological differences, as you were saying, which I understand that there are biological differences between men and women. Absolutely there are, but I'm just saying that wouldn't impact my decision making, because in my opinion, and I say this with emphasis, in my opinion.
Okay, hold on. No. Say your opinion, then I got. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. In your opinion, go ahead.
In my opinion, I think that women are capable of both homemaking as well as being able to provide for a family if they so wanted to, if they have the proper education to. But that was also something that was granted to women later on in history.
Here, let me ask you guys a question. Hold on, I'm going to ask you a question. So, those of you who said that men should be providers and you'd want a guy to pay for you on the first date, will you take your husband's last name?
I will hyphenate.
Yes.
Yes, what?
Yes, I will take my husband's
okay.
last name.
Yeah, I want my family to have all the one last name.
So no hyphenation?
No.
Okay.
Oh, if I get married, absolutely.
Hold on. Absolutely, you'll hyphenate?
No, I'll absolutely take his last name.
Okay.
Yeah, I would take it.
Yeah.
The microphone could be closer, but...
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, I will be taking my husband's last name.
All right, okay, well. Just you?
I'm about the family unit.
Yeah.
I would have been
Here.
down, but my mom did that, and my parents ended up getting divorced. So I'm
All
like,
right.
I'm just going to drop my middle name.
Here,
I have a close
Andrew, do you
identity to my
have
last name.
anything on this, on this?
On which
On the-
on which topic?
Like the feminists, but also traditional thing?
Yeah, well, it's always curious to me. That's why I was kind of drilling in earlier on the idea of rights. So when you're talking about feminism, you should make a notation that most men also in the United States couldn't vote. Almost no men could. Suffrage was something which came later, was not a foundational principle. And I'm trying to figure out why it is that you think women's liberation is so great. Why do you think feminism is awesome?
Because they got us here to where we are now.
Men did.
And
Yeah, but good for
So
those
then,
men.
so
Yeah.
then why
But it
do
was still
women?
feminism.
Why do so many women
The men
complain
made the decision, but-
today about not having equal rights to men?
I'm not complaining.
We're
I'm
not
s-
complaining.
yeah.
I know that you're
no,
not
I just
wanna keep it
complaining,
that
but I'm
way.
just-
Yeah.
We're not saying that we're complaining. We're saying that we are in support
have that conversation
of
with
that,
a different type of feminist.
Yeah, that, you
but
guys are looking
not-
for the
not
blue hair
us.
Yeah.
feminists. That's not what
Yeah,
they are. So
that's
it's
not what we are.
no, I think it's the same type of egalitarian principle. So I think the first and second wave led to the third and fourth wave, and that the principles are in essence the same. So I
not
don't
looking
think
up
that there's
feminist
this massive
principles on my free
distinction
time.
between fourth and third wave feminism to first and second. I don't think that it's just about voting. I think it's about a move towards these kinds of egalitarian principles, which I largely reject.
I think most of the feminists that I know are more of like, I don't see myself as equal to a man. I know obviously he's stronger than me and there's a lot of differences between us biologically. It's more of so that women wanted the option, if they wanted to have their own education or be by themselves or go 50-50, that's the whole point, is it just to have that option. Because before you had no choice but to get married and have kids with a man, and then if it went south, there was no escape for women. That's what most women are when you think about feminism.
There still is an escape for women. Like this is the bad part.
No, now
of
she could be by herself and get divorced and start
none
her
of
own.
that's true. This is the bad part of feminist
And I've
propaganda.
said this so many times when I've been on this podcast, when they ask me like, oh, like what does a feminist mean to you? It means doing whatever the fuck you want to do without society.
That sounds right.
Without society, without society being like, okay, well, you're not a traditional woman. You're a crazy cat lady. No, fuck that. Like, I don't want anybody to have that fucking shit.
Right, you want to just be able to do whatever the fuck you want.
Yes,
right?
period. Thank you, Andrew. You finally listened.
There are consequences to your actions, though. There are consequences to your actions.
The only person that suffers those consequences is the person that does the action.
Exactly. Exactly. My consequences.
What is my consequence for like defining myself as a feminist?
Well, it's not just the feminist label. It's having, how do I say this? If you are about like the sexual liberation thing and having multiple, like all these partners, there are consequences to that.
It leads towards, she actually is making a good point here.
That's like
this leads towards societal decay.
It's not my business what other people do with their body. If they want, not me personally, I wouldn't be sleeping around, but if another person wants to be sleeping around and call it liberation, then to hell with that. They can do whatever the fuck they want to do. I'm nobody to be like, oh, well, you're a whore for fucking wanting to sleep with 10,000 people.
But what's wrong if somebody does call them that? Why is that problematic in your worldview?
Because it's mean. Yes, thank you, Andrew.
So for me, I don't care if they get called a whore, but it's just the fact that they have the right to
solve any issues.
Like, you're a whore? Yes, you're a whore. That's a whore. It is true, but they
that
have the right to do it.
social shaming and social stigma solves issues?
It's not going to solve anything. It solves nothing.
Andrew,
what do you gain?
Tons of
what do you
problems.
gain?
What are you talking about?
Let me ask you, what do you gain from coming on here and calling me a skank? Do you gain anything? Do you get a little pat on the back? Do you get a cookie?
Part of the way. So what happens is, what you have to do, unfortunately, in the modern society that you're dealing with, where there's tons of decay, is when somebody hits you, you have to hit them back harder. That's the way it generally seems to work, unfortunately. Now, if you had behaved yourself and been a good girl, I wouldn't have had
Don't call me that. Do not call me that.
But instead, you had to mouth off and be a bitch, so I just kind of talk to you like I talk to you, right? That's how it works.
Do you think? Let me ask you.
Let's not insult, guys. Let's not insult people.
No, but not insult people. He got up here and called.
No, that's what I'm saying.
He called moms against drunk driving dumb broads.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
He
They
called
were,
moms
well, I
against
mean,
drunk
but they
driving
were
dumb
being dumb
broads.
broads when they did that.
Sir,
right?
I'm gonna tell you something. Okay?
Grieving mothers. Grieving
You're coming from a place of great insecurity.
No, it sucks that you have some good
behave like this.
Yeah, I've never met an adult. I work for men that are probably the same age, probably even younger than you, and I've never had them call me a dumb skank.
I know, but
they
the problem
treat me with
is that's my whole problem.
They treat me with respect, and I've never
it's
come.
Societal
Let me
stigma.
finish.
If
I've never
societal
once.
stigma existed, then women would have much better behavioral patterns in society.
So
That's
just
what I
because
advocate
I didn't behave the way you wanted me to behave, I am therefore a skank. That to you,
No,
that makes
that's not
sense in
what
your
makes you
head.
skank.
Your frontal lobe is fully developed, sir.
The fact
and
that you're
over
the fact
here
that you're for
calling a
sexual
20
liberation
you're
and
calling
skankery
a
is what makes you
21-year-old
skank,
girl
not
a
because of
skank.
anything else.
You're calling a 21-year-old girl a skank. Like, are you gonna call your
Would it make it
21-year-old
better if
daughter
you
a
were 41 years
skank?
old?
Would you like it if a fucking man called your 21-year-old daughter a skank? Do you think that's
If
the
she
way?
was being a skank, it would be the best corrective
You're
reasoning he
fucked
could
in
do.
the head. You're fucked in the head. You are not a good father, and your children are gonna grow up to hate you.
It just sucks because you sometimes do have some
My
good points, but when you talk
I
like
have
this to
children-
people, they will never.
I have children
everything
who are
else you say
older
is
than you. They
negative.
don't hate me. I'm
Like
sorry.
you could say the most intelligent thing, but if you
He's trying to help you guys.
Trying to help me by not calling me a skank.
To wake you up.
Well, the problem
Wake me
is
up from
like
what?
you've been as combative as you can possibly be. If I hit back, you cry. It's like, where's your feminism? Where's your awesome why you whine? Instead, why don't you have a nice productive debate instead of whining incessantly?
Because you're over here putting insults. And
The gavel has come down. I've stricken the gavel. Okay. All right. There we go. Nice. He needs a little smoke break. Andrew, we'll give you a smoke break. Okay?
Yeah.
We're giving Andrew a smoke break.
Are you indoors? Are you indoors where your
He's
parents stay?
chain-smoking.
You
Or
guys,
kids stay, or is it
he's
a different
chain
house?
smoking. Actually, here's the reality. Andrew used to never smoke before he came on the Whatever podcast, but it's so stressful for him to be having these kinds of conversations.
I would believe that.
I might have to start smoking too.
Do you work out of the studio, or are you smoking inside the house where you're?
He smokes inside because he's a
Where your
giga
kids-
chad.
I'm smoking right next to my kids. I blow it in their fucking faces.
Yeah, I wouldn't fucking doubt it.
Now that's good parenting. All
Please,
right.
someone cut that one up.
All right.
Yeah.
Cut that and put that on TikTok.
Yeah.
God-fearing man.
Yeah.
Like, it just, I get your point with some things.
He goes over to the
connect.
cradle. He goes over to the cradle. And you,
After he robs it.
Puts his cigarette out on him.
It was a joke. It was a kidding. It was handed to me.
My mom accidentally put a cigarette out on him.
Okay.